So, there is a lot of news that has been circulating on X or Twitter. These dirt sheets are going crazy right now. So, I thought, why don't we talk about the news that we have been hearing live and direct, and we're going to express our feelings and see what we feel about these thoughts. Starting off, we have from Cultaholic Wrestling. There has reportedly been growing frustrations in the WWE Women's Division over their booking. And this was a quote from the source of Fightful Select. And the quote, and I quote, shout out Michael Cole, I have spoken with plenty of women in WWE who are frustrated about the booking of the women. I know there have been some mania pitches that have been rejected because people are like, token tag matches aren't something they want to do. They want things put on a more even plane in the women's division. So that's a real big thing to say, that there's frustrations going on in WWE with the women's division. Now, are those frustrations valid? Yes, because the women's division has been very not all the way there. And what I mean by that is it's been very dominated. The women's division has been absolutely dominated by Rhea Ripley, by your Charlotte Flair, by your Becky Lynch's. It's been dominated. Now, with that being said, then I see the words, they want things put on a more even plane. What do they mean by that? Do they mean that they want it more put on an even plane with the men's division? This is where it gets a little fishy, because if you ask me, the men's division is gigantically stacked also because of the draws that are at the top. Seth Rollins is a draw. Roman Reigns is a draw. Roman Reigns is the draw. Cody Rhodes is the draw. CM Punk is the draw. Jey Uso is the draw. Gunther is a draw. There's so many people in that main event right now are just fueled with money. When you look at the women's division, they have a chance to do that. And I'm talking about WWE creative, not the women like themselves. You have the women's division. You have Rhea Ripley. You have Liv Morgan. You have a returning Charlotte Flair. You have Tiffany Stratton. And you have Io Sky. And you also have Bayley. I would say those 6. Oh, and also number 7, you can always say Nia Jax. So I would say those 7 women right now are like the pool in the main event picture. Now, how to make the women's division much more better, much more important, is very hard because of the storylines they get. They don't get enough time to tell those stories. And what I mean by that, I'm not talking about honestly, I'm not talking about anything that has to do with matches. We all know that if we all want to be honest, this crop of women's talent in the last 4 to 5 years is the best women's wrestling probably we've gotten ever. And I mean that by saying just like you have stars. Rhea Ripley is a bona fide star. Rhea Ripley is a bona fide star. Becky Lynch is a bona fide star. Charlotte Flair is a bona fide star. Io Sky is your rising star. Tiffany Stratton is a rising star. We have people. We do. They have wrestlers who are becoming stars. Now, it's taking that and applying it into storylines that matter, that make sense, that work well. That's what's missing. So, how do you do that? One of the first things I would do in the women's division, get rid of the NXT Tag Team Championships. They don't work. I know that was a women's tag team titles was a huge thing in like 2018, 2019, around WrestleMania 35. It didn't work. The women's tag titles should 100% stay in NXT. NXT's Katana Chance, Kaden Carter, they were really dope in NXT when they had those. It would really work well now in NXT if you put those titles back in NXT. It doesn't work on the main roster. I'm sorry, it just doesn't. So, with that being said, if you put those titles away, do you know the stories you can tell in the mid-card division now? Well, now you have a hungry Bianca Belair. You have a hungry Jade Cargill. You have all these stars, so where you with those top 7 that I named, only 2 of them are champions. You don't need to have 12 people in the hunt for one title. You can now maneuver that and add more star power if Bianca Belair was the United States champion. If Bayley, for measures, was the Intercontinental title champion. You're adding more equity, more people to feud with. Because right now, if anything, NXT call-ups, right now, they're going to have to start pulling from that NXT women's division. Because that NXT women's division is the best roster for women. For women's wrestling, period, is in NXT. No doubt about it. But you're going to have to make them, you're going to have to tell stories with them. See, and here's the thing about that. It wasn't that long ago where we didn't have no stories for the men either. One storyline, you can argue, one storyline saved the WWE. One storyline is what made WWE what it is today. And that storyline is the bloodline. Now, I'm saying, hear me out. If you add, the thing about the bloodline is, and what makes it cool is, there's a bunch of members of the bloodline. Did we forget? Nia Jax is a part of that same damn bloodline. Did we forget? Naomi is married to Big Jimbo Slice, Jimmy Uso. So she is also a member of the bloodline. Why don't you take some of the Samoan wrestlers you have for the women? Dakota Kai is also Samoan, I believe. She's been doing what? Nothing in Damage Control? I love Dakota Kai. One of my favorite wrestlers for the women's division is Dakota Kai. One of my favorites. Hopefully she wins the IC title on Monday. I'll be ecstatic. But what if they combined and did their rendition of a woman's bloodline? What if Naomi or Nia Jax joined the bloodline and then they started beating the shit out of the women's division? And so now the bloodline has officially taken over WWE and All Access. So then you have somebody who can be that face who tells a story, who has an emotional story of their climb to the title. And now, boom, you have that Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns storyline in the women's division to make things bigger. Because the thing about it right now, the challenge that exists in the women's division right now is the men's division is so stacked. I'm sorry. If I love Charlotte Flair, I love Tiffany Stratton, I love if it's Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair, or if it's Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky. Are they main eventing WrestleMania over John Cena and Cody Rhodes? Over CM Punk versus Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins? Absolutely not. No. We just don't have. None of the matches for the women could main event WrestleMania. People are going to look at me like I'm crazy when I say that. It's just to show how over the men are right now. And it's also because of time that they're not given. Promo-wise, they don't do enough promos in the women's division to tell adequate stories to even match the men. That's the issue. Yes, we can watch wrestling all day, but we fall in love with the character. We fall in love with the character, the promo work. And then you look at the women's division. Who on the women's division are you like, oh, they're elite on the mic? Ooh. Don't worry, I'll wait. Because I had to think about this. What woman star in the WWE do you look at and go, oh, that girl can, oh, you don't want to see her on the mic. You don't say that about none of them. Mostly probably because they haven't gotten that opportunity, and the storylines that they're given, they're not able to express and show that side of them. So if you ask me where they lack, it's right then and there. They need to tell, they need more promo time in the women's division. They need to pull some stars from NXT and give them promo time to make us care, to make us want to see these matches instead of just putting these matches in front of us. So those are my thoughts on this Fightful report. But we got to flip sides now. Now we got Andrew Baydala tweets today on the Coach and Bro show. The coach, Jonathan Coachman, stated that Shane McMahon, during the meeting that he asked for with Tony Khan, Shane asked for equity in the company, AEW, and Shane wanted to come in and run the entire show. And then the coach stated that Tony Khan ghosted Shane McMahon. This is the most wild story that I've heard today. That was crazy. Now, with that being said, if that is the case, I can see why Tony Khan said just, nah, I'm not trying to do this. I'm not trying to get in bed and get in business with a McMahon. I understand. Honestly, if I was Tony Khan, I'd probably do the same thing. Reason being is because McMahons are McMahons. And to have Shane try to run a company against his own family just sounds kind of sketchy. So I wouldn't do it. I really wouldn't do it. It just really wouldn't make sense to what they want to build to AEW. It just doesn't sound right. So I understand. I understand that AEW is struggling, but they are getting better. I do understand that. But do I think Shane McMahon was the answer to them? I don't really know long term on that, but I do believe that they would have benefited from Shane McMahon being in the company 100%. I do think that that popularity, that buzz that Shane McMahon joins AEW would get their viewership a lot more up than it is. A lot more. Because when you look at these Dynamite ratings, they're not pretty. Like, I ain't gonna lie to you, they've been getting kind of smacked by NXT. NXT is whipping that ass right now. But do I see AEW climbing out and hopefully restoring order? Yes. Right now, they just don't have the champion or the feud to actually do it. I think right now, as somebody who occasionally watches AEW, I don't watch that shit every week, but when I do tune in, it just, you look at it and you kind of just go, oh, all right, I guess. That's different. All right, cool. Like, to me, Jon Moxley as your world champion, nah. I just don't see it. Edge is trying to do his best. Edge is trying over there. I know MJF and Hangman are going down, and that's what a lot of people are excited for. That interests me, even me. MJF is one of the biggest stars you have. To me, why MJF doesn't have the title doesn't make sense to me. He's bona fide heel heat. Like, you take Dustin Rhodes. Their little feud that they were having, entertaining. People loved it. Nobody wanted to see Jeff Jarrett win the AEW World title. Why was he kind of pushing that? I don't really know. But it was talks. You know, you have to get people talking. And I feel like AEW will get that back. It just takes time it's taking their time for them. The wrestling business is a lot of peaks and valleys. That's all it is peaks and valleys. Right now, AEW's on the decline. But will they get it back? Yes. So I do believe that they're not going to end up like WCW. I don't believe that they're going to be bought out and put out of business. I don't believe that at all. It just takes time for them to rise. Like, shit, for example, you look at TNA. When TNA signed that partnership with WWE, their show went straight back up to the stratosphere, as it should. AEW just has to refine this way again. And the thing is, you can't go back to that old feeling that when it first started and the hype that it had when it first started. You can't do that. That's just not going to work. But you need to redefine what AEW is and then tell those stories with that. And I really do hope that they find that. So those are my thoughts on these news stories that were broken today from these dirt sheets. We'll see if they're true or not, but it's hilarious. But I wanted to get my thoughts on that. Let me know what you guys want to see next. Yes, I have some Lucha Underground stuff coming to you very, very, very soon. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. It has been your boy D, Forever Gang, and until forever finds you.